Hi there, I'm Sue Elvis and this is another Evernote workshop video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how many Evernote notebooks we need to create, especially for homeschool records purposes. That's what I'm going to start with. Now, in the left panel here are all my homeschool records notebooks, and you can see that I have got stacks of 10 notebooks per stack. There are 10 notebooks per school term. So there is one notebook per week of the school term. Week 1, 2, 3, right down to the final week of the school term, week 10, all stacked together to form one term's worth of unschooling or one term's worth of record keeping. Now, of course, unschooling doesn't work like school, and this looks very neat and tidy. But I've created my notebooks like this because my AP or authorized person from the education department expects to see schooly type records. Yes, unschooling occurs every day of the year, not just during school term, but I organize my girls' learning experiences into the same structure as the school does, so that when my AP comes to visit, she can sit down and she can scroll through this left panel and she can see that there are homeschooling records for every week of the school year. She can even see how many learning experience notes that I have created. She can see that my girls have worked for the required 4 terms of the year. I have created them that way for the AP's benefit, but I don't really think that's the best way to create Evernote notebooks. Evernote is designed for fewer notebooks and more tags. For example, I could have created one notebook for the whole term's unschooling. I could have put all these 10 notebooks into one notebook, merged them all into one notebook called Term 3 2016. And if I had done that, I would have ended up with this long list of notes. And I think that's probably a very good way of doing it. We don't really need a notebook for every week of the term. Now, each of the notes does have a creation date, so even though the notes are all in one big notebook, I can tell when each of these learning experiences happened, when I created the note. If I wanted to separate out all these notes into the weeks of the term, what I could have done was added extra tags to my notes. I could have added a tag saying week 1 and maybe the year. And then by using those tags, or maybe even the term as well, and by using those tags, selecting those tags, I could have sorted my notes into, for example, the notes that belong to week 1, term 3, 2016. Those notes would have appeared down here. A bit more tricky for the AP to see exactly what my girls were doing during the first week of the 3rd term of 2016, unless I search the notes for her and bring them up on screen. But maybe she wouldn't expect that. Maybe just having all the notes here for one term at a time, maybe that would be good enough. Now, I know that some unschoolers, some homeschoolers, registered ones are doing this. It works really well. We could go further than that and make one notebook for the whole year. In that case, we might want to add another tag. We might want to add tags for the term, the week, and the year. And then we could search our one big notebook, for example, for all the notes for, say, term 2 or term 3 or a particular week within that term. It all sounds pretty complicated, but it is easy to search notebooks using tags. We just come up to here and we just type in the tags that we would like, and down here we choose whether we want to look in all our notebooks or a particular notebooks for those notes with that particular tag or tags. We can search more than one tag at a time. So we could say, I want to see all the creative art notes for week 1. Or we could say, I want to see all the creative art notes and maths notes for week 1. Or I want to see all the notes for week 1. It just depends on which tags we choose. Now, these are all my notebooks that I use for homeschool record keeping, the ones that I put my girls' unschooling learning experiences in. So they've had an unschooling learning experience. I will record that in one of these notebooks. But these notebooks are not all my homeschool notebooks. Further down here, I have notebooks that are associated with the homeschool registration process. For example, if I open that notebook up, I have the school syllabus. Because my girls' learning is supposed to be based upon the school syllabus of the state of New South Wales, Australia. Very tricky for unschoolers, but yes, we can talk about that another time. But to show the AP that I am at least aware that my girls' learning is supposed to be based upon the school syllabus, I have the school syllabus clipped into this notebook. And I can go to the syllabus online by clicking over on this link. And the AP was impressed with that. I also have progress notes. I did write up some notes because that's another thing that we're supposed to do, is to show some way that we've assessed our children's learning, that we know where they're going and where they've been and how we're going to plan for their education. I also have a planning notebook. Planning and unschooling, how can we plan? Well, we can't really, and it's more of a strewing notebook than anything, but I call it my planning notebook for the AP's benefit. And all these are just resources. All these notes are linked to different resources. I've labelled them all according to the key learning area. And I will talk a bit more about that in a video of its own, I think. But yes, so I have my strewing notebook, my planning notebook. Now, I don't have any family journal notebooks. If you don't have to keep homeschooling records, you probably won't have any homeschool record-keeping notebooks. You'll probably refer to yours as family journal notebooks. But all these notebooks up here that record our unschooling are also our family journal notebooks. Because unschooling is just our lives. Yes, some of it looks like maths, and some of it looks like science, and they're all recorded with schooly type names. Titles, I want to talk about titles in another video because maybe I could make the titles a little bit less schooly, but that's something to talk about later. But yes, these notebooks are our family journal. They show all the things that I've been doing together with my girls over the last couple of years or so, all the videos we've watched, all the places we've been, all the music videos we've recorded. So I'm not going to double up. Homeschool record-keeping journals are also family journals. I just have to find ways of making sure that our homeschool journals capture every single one of the family journal memories that I would like to remember. Now, personal journals, that's another area. I have a section down here. I've called it Sue's Notebooks. They're my personal journals. Actually, the stack is called Sue's Notebooks, and within that stack I have a number of notebooks. They're rather in a mess. I keep creating them at random and forgetting to tag. I think that possibly I could merge all those notebooks into one. Just call it my personal notebook, Sue's Notebook. And by clever tagging, I could put everything into one notebook. Now, I have this separate to my homeschooling record-keeping journals or notebooks because I shared these notebooks with my girls. That symbol there means that I have shared that notebook with somebody. And so my girls can access all these notebooks. They can come into them. They can reread anything that's there. They can follow the links back to videos. They can add notes of their own. But I want to keep my personal notebooks private. That's why I've created other notebooks down here just for myself. And as you can see, none of them are shared. So that's just a few ideas about what types of notebooks we can create for our family, personal and homeschool journals, and how many notebooks we might like to create. Now, there's no one answer. I think the number of journals that we create or the number of notebooks that we create is our own decision. There's not a better way. Whatever suits us. Perhaps we can share a few ideas, discuss the pros and cons of the different ways of doing things, and then try a few things out ourselves, see what works for us. Well, that's a little bit of information about notebooks, as I said, and I'm going to talk more about notebooks in other videos.